my friends. Welcome to another episode of the Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, brought to you by Mafia Sports Report. I, as always, am Dr. Love, and of course, that's my brother from another mother. We got Sauce Bronson.
Listen, make no mistakes. I'm the light-skinned man. I got ashy hands. And the only reason why I'm here is because Dr. Love got the plan. And most importantly, Lions won a game!
Let's go!
We going on the way! That's all I got.
Hey, and they looked good, too, in it. They looked very good and pretty dominant that whole game. So,
hey, shout out to Dr. Love drinking like 200 ounces of beer.
Hey, you know what? You got to do what you got to do. They make sure these Lions get through. I mean, what can I say? No paper bags here, right here. No paper bags over the head this season. So,
just a heads up. I was on Instagram for a brief second, and you can now. They have every episode of Impact from May 2013, 10 years ago, available now on their app for the first time in high def. So,
okay.
And I just thought to myself, like, high def became a thing in 2008. So, why was your stuff? Why was it instead of def?
I know, right? Oh gosh, you remember when WWE was like WWE HD? You know, if it wasn't HD, it's like, no, I want the grainy wrestling, like the real bad quality. That's the one we like to watch.
And I remember the good old days of early WWE HD, where you could hear the guys calling spots on Monday Night Raw.
Yeah, I know. At that point, they're like, guys, we can hear you. They're like, okay. So yeah, they were too loud because they didn't realize how good the mics were now. So
yep,
how funny. But we do got a couple chats here. We got CBM. Thank you for joining us. Thanks, Guy. Thank you very much on that. And then, of course, one of the things we were going to talk about, but yes, can't wait for, as Cornette says, Jane Cargill. Yeah, I know. And we'll definitely talk about that in just a little bit. And as for the beer, I hope it wasn't Natty Light. Absolutely not. Nope.
No Natty Daddies in Michigan. Okay, no Natty Daddies.
Nope. I'd rather drink Bush Dry at that point or something like that. You know what I'm saying? But no.
Yeah, I'd rather just drink Flint water.
But oh man. But like I said, so basically, as you can see on the thumbnail, just because obviously there's been some firings and stuff happening and other signings with different groups. Kind of want to talk a little bit about that in general in wrestling. We are also going to go briefly over the AEW has another show on October 1st, the Wrestle Dream Show, which is, apparently it's supposed to be them in New Japan again. But I really feel like TK just kind of said that before announcing matches, and then New Japan's like, what? What are we doing?
Yep.
Huh?
Yep.
But some of the matches look pretty good. But we'll go over that brief. We'll go over that in a little bit.
So Doc, at this point, so we have what? So AEW pretty much has 4 pay-per-views now. They have 4 that's AEW brand and then 2 cross-promotion brands. If I'm not mistaken, because me and a coworker were talking about this earlier.
Yeah,
my coworker was going on a brief rant about why AEW is just ass backwards on a lot of things, but that's a subject for a whole nother show. So we got Revolution, All Out, All In, Double or Nothing.
Yep. You're right. Double or Nothing comes at first. Well, second. So Revolution in March, Double or Nothing Memorial Day weekend, and then the 4th of July weekend is. Wait a minute. It was the 4th of July weekend.
I'm just saying, because I think Forbidden Door, that's cross promotion, but you might as well say AEW as well.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good point. They've had 2 of them, so at this point, I would say now we're up to 6 pay-per-views a year now for AEW. Correct. Yep, I'd say that. Yeah, that's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because you had your 4 or your 5 if you count the All In show, because they are doing the All In show next year as well. The Wembley show, they're doing that now because
they
only had All Out. The only All In show was just the inaugural show. That was the only time they ever did All In. It was just All, and then they changed it to All Out. So, gotcha. But now this Wrestle Dream show, it's an interesting concept. I mean, they want to obviously have this kind of a cross promotion with New Japan. But if you look at the card, which I'm just going to put up briefly, but we'll talk about it. Most of these, if I was told that this is supposed to be a New Japan like cross show, besides the fact that Zack Sabre Jr. and Shibata was on here, then I would have been like, no, I don't see what you're getting on that. To me, it doesn't make sense. Now, there's a rumor, the rumor mill, that with that Wrestle Dream show, they're going to be bringing in people from Shimmer and Stardom, I should say. A girl that I've actually followed on social media and some of her wrestling over in Stardom. Her name is Mariah May. Literally, what's funny about this girl is if you look at her and Tiffany Stratton, it's almost like the same character. Like that.
You mean like early Rhea and Charlotte?
Well, but they have that's their gimmick though. Like they're like the Barbie blonde that can wrestle and beat your ass. Unlike how Rhea was just that blonde, but that she was generic. She didn't have that character.
That creative character. You just press start. You just want to get to the campaign.
Yeah, it's like
diggity dog.
Oh my God! Please. Oh God! How long were we in that Royal Rumble? Until we were like, okay, we got to stop playing.
I think we did like 15 minutes. I was like, and I just want to prove to everybody that that I know this is sacrilege on the wrestling podcast, but yes, No Mercy sucks and it does not hold up well in 2023. You can add me all you want to. Send all the hate mail. Next week I'll see you the email. I'll see y'all the email where you can slide all the hate mail to me all y'all want. Yes. No Mercy sucks, and we all need to move on in our lives.
So what's gonna be great about this is I was actually thinking about this the other day for upcoming scheduling, and we will be doing our video game podcast of like our favorite, our best, worst, weird wrestling games. We're going to be doing that, and tentatively, we're going to do that at near the end of October. So, is that something that we could get some research done by then?
Oh, I got the research. I'm telling you, spoiler alert: No Mercy sucks.
No Mercy.
And Here Comes the Pain is the GOAT.
He's going to have like a whiteboard on the back of it. It sucks. It sucks.
Oh, but speaking of socials, Doc, anything you want to show the audience?
Oh, absolutely. So, of course, we do have all of our socials here, and I'm trying to put them all in one place. We do it, like I said, on Facebook. It's just typed out just like that, Nuclear Heat Wave. You can't miss us once you see our picture. And then, of course, the Instagram, and right there. And then the Twitter, X. We got X going to give it to you, apparently. So there is. And then, of course, on YouTube, the QR code is for directly to the YouTube playlist to see all of our past shows. So definitely out on that.
Hey, Doc, you know this is our 91st show?
Oh, Lord. I like it. Oh, man, that's so cool. That is so cool. We do have, let's see, we got CPM with one here talking about, so would she be like Angelina Love or Velvet Sky, or is Mariah's work rate that much better? So from the videos that I've seen of her in Stardom, much better. Like we're not talking like bad like Lacey Von Erich or like you said, the Beautiful People or whatnot, which don't get me wrong, the Beautiful People gimmick was fine. They were fine. They did, but they just weren't that good of wrestlers. They just they were just the eye candy, which every wrestling promotion had them. So, but I will say this is great, CBM, for the video game one. WCW backstage assault for the win.
Hey, listen. Laugh at backstage assault all you want to, but I bet you could pick that up in 2023 and not feel lost or confused.
I know, right? Hey, you know what? AEW should have took that and said, "Can we have AEW backstage assault?"
Oh, don't give Papa Khan any ideas.
Oh my God! The final boss is CM Punk, and it's like all the meters keep going up on.
Hey, the final boss. You got to go in the dressing room of CM Punk and Ace Steel. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match.
Yeah, that's right.
He got
goes after him and then knocks him out right away.
and then somehow get your arm bit for no reason.
Yep. Oh my gosh. You know what? I almost wish it was done in the style of Scott Pilgrim, the game. Tell me how awesome that would be.
Yes.
It was done in that, like that. It was in that style. Oh man. See, now I want it now. Now I want a wrestling game in that style. Like that's what I want.
I mean, we technically got one already. That one game on Switch is like a wrestling RPG.
The WrestleQuest.
Yeah, WrestleQuest. Yeah.
Oh right. Yep. We did. That's actually where they probably were like, you know what? I like that little game. Let's see if we can make this, work. So that was something we'll talk about. But so anyways, obviously we had some we got some signings in the firings from the Endeavor merger, but the big one that was rumored for a week, but now as of today confirmed, Miss Jade Cargill, Miss TBS champion.
She's not like most girls. Oh, my bad, wrong person.
Wrong. No, not Nyla Rose. No, we're talking about Jade Cargill. But no, she's officially signed with WWE, and it was a kind of a worst kept secret at that point. But and apparently they've already trademarked the name Jada Parker.
Yeah.
What I like Jada. If you can't go by her name Jade Cargill, go by Jada. But they have been calling her Jade Cargill, like in the promos, in the like Triple H saying, "Welcome, Jade Cargill here." And I'm like, okay, all right. Now she went to the Performance Center. She's not going to stay. She's going to the main roster immediately.
They're gonna fine tune her and teach her how to actually wrestle.
Yeah, but that's so. I might not have said much good stuff about her in the past, but what we've talked about the Rhea Ripley issue about the feud, this is the solution to the feud. Not Nia Jax, not Nia Jax, but
listen, Doc. You leave my lane, Brian's alone, okay?
Come on. Every time I see her do her finisher on somebody, like she had Zoe Stark and she like does like the Yokozuna, like slams down on them. I'm like, all I can think about is Sauce being like,
yeah,
let's go.
Yeah.
I'll take it. Oh my God. Then we got CBM here with it evokes Jada Pinkett. Not sure if they want that connotation or not. So
hey, it's been exactly 3 days since the last time we had to hear her talk about Tupac again.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. What's funny is like obviously all this stuff happened with her. A lot of other things happened. The funniest thing I think is if anybody's a horror fan, Scream 2 came out about years ago. I'm a huge Scream fan, horror movie. She's in the opening scene of that, and she gets killed off, like mercilessly killed off in the movie theater, stabbed 100 times. But she's she's a bitch the entire time. It was the best thing, like watching her get. And it's so sad to say that, but it's like she never got any better as like a person, not really. So it's what it is. But I didn't even think about that though when CBM about the Jada Parker, Jada Pinkett. It kind of does seem like it now. I would have never made that connection, but regardless, what she goes by, I think she's get fine tuned, get some. She obviously has the look. She has the look more than anybody. Like I don't think we've had anybody that looked like her in a long time, like the sheer musculature that she has, and still, having the the femininity too of her character. Like
China.
I'd say China, yeah, right there at the end.
Well, I'll tell you, I would say China post DX. Once she got separated from DX, that's when she started kind of getting her femininity more instead of just being, a machismo bodyguard.
Yeah. I'd say, that last year and a half, that's probably about right for that. And if they push her right, it could be huge. But it has to be definitely, something where she shows up on Raw. Now, question here, it's actually Sauce. Would you have her possibly joining a faction like Bobby Lashley's new faction.
That's what everybody wants. Me personally, because she's going to be such a huge name. When have you ever seen a huge name be pushed up at WWE and they go to a faction? I don't think you've ever had that. So I don't think it's like, why start now with her? So me personally, I don't see the point. Now, as far as her debuting, let's see. So we're basically about to approach October. Survivor Series is in about 2 months.
Yep.
Or do you save her for the Rumble?
That's a very good question because, man, that's a good question. Let's see. Survivor Series with that. It really just depends on how the women's division looks at that point because of, whether or not, like, if they're going to continue any feud with Raquel Rodriguez for Rhea. If they don't, then she's still like all those those groups, like she can still hold on the belt, not really worry about it. Whatever they're planning to do with Io Sky on that side, it really depends. I can see them bringing her in sooner than later. Basically, especially now with the Endeavor deal in, they might be wanting to push it more like quickly than wait till I can't see them waiting till the Rumble. I'd say that they're going to set up something maybe for Survivor Series. I think that makes the most sense.
I'm just saying if you're going to like have her debut, like to make a big deal, or as they say, make a statement or make a moment. Whatever stupid thing that WWE says now, you figure you might as well say she's walked in. You might as well say she walked in October 1st at this point. So at that point, you just basically, I guess, have her basically kind of retool her in WWE style, basically teach her how to actually wrestle. And so at that point, you figured you got about 2 months, almost 2 months of wrestling. So I think Survivor Series will be good at that point. Like you said, she's not going to NXT. Even though if they book her right, if she actually could wrestle, if they book her right, she can run NXT for the next 8 months.
Yeah. And so think about it this way too, especially if Becky Lynch is champion there currently. Could you imagine like her coming in there and giving her the rub on it to win that belt from her? And then Becky takes time off until right before Royal Rumble. That could be a possibility too, So, but I still think she's going on the main roster. It makes more sense.
Quick question, Doc. Do we get her AEW thing ported over, or do we get a modification of her AEW thing?
I'd say it's going to be a modification. It's not really to get like how Cody Rhodes, to me that was more so that was the actual band, being in contact and like, hey, we'll pay for that. But a modification of it, I'd be fine. I'd be fine for that. So, but I will say CBM has something that hopefully this doesn't happen. Will they make her another Shaniqua as the dom of her own faction? Oh gosh. God, with the Basham brothers and Shaniqua.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was like, oh my God, I was just thinking about her when she blew that one big spot with Trish Stratus on SmackDown.
Oh
I think what was it? I think Trish Stratus was doing like a face buster or something, or like a running bulldog. Something like that. It was just so bad. And you could just see Trish in the ring trying to stay professional. She just like, oh my God. What was I just a part of?
And she won the second season of Tough Enough. Her and Nydia were the friggin' winners of that. So that tells you something, And oh gosh, oh no, she will not be like Shaniqua, okay, at all. We do have a couple of chats here. We got all Mad Chatters in the house. Thank you for chatting with us. Huge thumbs up and Dr. Sauce Sup.
Yo,
sup with you, man. We're here, Oh man, that's crazy. And he's actually got a good question here. What future holds for Cena and The Rock with the writer's strike over? If anybody knows, the writer's strike has been happening on for several months, and then the actors joined them. It's a tentative deal that believe it's basically going through at this point. Like it's not 100% confirmed, but it is going through. And essentially means is that Rock has lots of projects. Cena has probably projects, but neither one could work. So yeah, so all this stuff that's been happening with The Rock about like coming on SmackDown, now rumored to maybe wrestle at friggin' Elimination Chamber. I don't know if you saw that rumor. It's like if you're gonna do that, then he's gotta be at WrestleMania. I'm just this is what I don't know what I'm doing. Like I don't know what to do with my hands, but that's what needs to happen. But if these movies, he's got movie lined up, every one of The Rock's contracts, no wrestling. So if you're filming then, he will not be able to wrestle. So So yeah, will it affect it? It just depends. It depends on how many projects he's got in the works. Obviously, Black Adam 2 is not going to be on the table, so I think we're okay there. but
if Martin Scorsese or if Christopher Nolan rings that phone, yeah, you can kiss Rock at Mania goodbye.
Yeah. Or what about Fast X2? Isn't that aren't they supposed to be in that movie too?
It's supposed to be. Apparently, it got leaked that it's supposed to be a trilogy of this last movie.
So, is it going to be like Final Fantasy X-2, where it's going to be like 10,
or to all the anime fans, Attack on Titan season 4 part 6.
Oh God. Oh my God! I just in my head, I just can't.
Yes, Doc. Yes, Doc. Like Attack on Titan right now, like the final season, which they started their final season during COVID, and now they're literally on like season. I think like part 4 or 5 of season 4 of the final season. Like, oh my God! But anyway.
But Mad Chatter's got a good chat here. Strongly believe The Rock WrestleMania push XFL and USFL merging possibly, which I did see that also in the news. Now, two things about that kind of like I'm happy and I'm also annoyed. One, XFL was very entertaining. I don't care what anybody said. Even this new one, which was basically the old one from in 2020, which was good football. It was pretty entertaining. COVID killed it. Nothing else but COVID. They would have stayed alive. But then
as a lifelong lifelong Tampa Bay Vipers fan, I never got that win. Even though they went to Las Vegas, I finally did get that win though.
There you go.
So shout out to The Rock, finally giving me my first win for my Vipers.
Right. But yeah, so apparently, if they are planning on doing a merge like that, that would be a great way to push it. Obviously, I just want them to keep the XFL name and the rules. But the USFL name I know is a classic name, vintage name, all that kind of stuff. But I want the rules for the XFL. That's what I want. So I want them to keep those because those were more entertaining to me than USFL. Like I was always watching more of those games. The only problem is we have to make sure our Michigan Panthers are in it. So Michigan Panthers.
Oh yeah. Let me tell you right now, if they merge, I will kiss the Vipers fandom goodbye. So you know right now.
Mad Chatter's got. Do you really need a writer for Fast 11?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Listen, I will defend this franchise to the day I die. You need a writer. I mean, listen. Because what else are 5-year-olds going to tell us where we're going to get these cool ideas from? When these 5, 6, 7-year-olds come in and say, "Hey, guess what you could do with a car?" Like the Doc. So literally in Fast X, Vin Diesel literally used a car as like a nunchuck to like take down a helicopter. It was like the wildest thing.
You know what's funny about that is I'll just go pop in and watch Speed Racer because that reminds me how they would use the cars like as weapons and stuff. And that the Speed Racer was underrated. It's all of you guys that never watched it, and that's why we never got more of it. But it came out the wrong time. It came out before 3D movies. It could have actually been like a big 3D movie. You guys didn't watch it.
It definitely could have been huge on Peacock too.
Oh my God, so good! It was just so fun movie. But anyways, I'm on my Speed Racer tempo there. But we do have. Thanks for all the chats, guys. But we got CBM here. Oh God. Okay, so what about Eli Roth or UV Bowl? will Rock drop WrestleMania for them? I'm gonna say hard pass.
Listen. I
I
know.
like Eli Roth. Don't get me. I actually do like him somewhat, but not.
So here's the thing. The only way I would accept Rock dropping WrestleMania plans for Eli Roth is if he's a huge antagonist in Hostile 3. That's the only way I accept it. That's the only way I accept it.
I think there already was a Hostile 3.
Oh damn.
Well, no, a new Hostile, the new generation or something. I don't know.
I gotta look this up while you talk to the people.
I'm pretty sure it came out, but I'm pretty sure Eli Roth was not involved. So.
Oh my god, they actually made this.
Yeah,
It came out in 2011.
But look at the director. I guarantee it's not Eli Roth. So.
Hold on.
But Mad Chatter's got the rumor of the XFL and USFL.
Scott Spiegel. What the hell is he doing? From Dusk Till Dawn 2, Hostile Part 2.
Yep.
My Name is Modesty. What the hell is this?
Hey, you talking about Scott Speedman? Yeah, from like all the Underworld movies and stuff. So, because that
maybe Eli Roth. I know we're supposed to talk about wrestling, but this dude has apparently he's directed all 3 Hostels, so maybe Eli Roth endorsed it or something. I don't know.
Oh, maybe he wrote them or something. Yeah, you're right. I think he just wrote them or wrote the first one from the mind of Eli Roth. I like to say that. But yeah, Matt Jenner says here, a rumor believes 6 teams from the XFL and 6 from the USFL. National Spring League Football. The Roughnecks gone. Don't lose Wade Phillips. And then oh no. Vegas Vipers would be gone. No.
That's all right. I'll bandwagon to a new team if Michigan Panthers don't merge. But apparently, speaking of Wade Phillips, yeah, how about them let's say the Broncos really use him right now. Okay, listen, y'all, we gotta really get back to wrestling.
It's okay. It's okay.
Oh, one last thing, non-wrestling thing. The only way The Rock should drop WrestleMania for Eli Roth is if Eli Roth, let's say, apparently he's doing a Borderlands movie. I need The Rock to be somehow the antagonist. I don't know nothing about Borderlands lore, but Rock just needs to be in there, cell shaded, with all his Rock man meat, just out there, just guns a blazing. That's the only way I accept it.
There you go. All right. I like it. So, oh man, that's funny. But so yeah, we'll get back on track here, which is okay. We don't mind. We like getting on. We like talking with you guys. So, in regard to, we basically are pretty much done with Jade Cargill. I'm hoping that she does well. You never want anybody not to. I just want her to get, like you said, ready with the additional training, and that helps because that's all she ever needed was but AEW just kind of pushed her and was like, you're a TBS champion forever. It's like, what? Okay.
Yeah, she was basically married to a belt for the longest.
Right. She let her be her baddie self there,
So listen, Papa H, I need you to figure out. You gotta create a new baddie stable for her. Okay, we need the baddies to come back.
The baddies have to come back. Yeah, as long as they gotta make sure that Zeus Network doesn't try to steal her away to do on the baddie boxing and whatnot. Trust me.
Listen, Papa H. If you bring back the baddies, I will happily buy a baddie T-shirt.
Oh, next event.
Y'all heard it here first. I will sit there. Baddie, say Baddie Club, baby, right here. Let's go.
There we go. You heard it here first on Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast. But getting back to basically what we were saying about in regard to big firings, big. Wait, I'm sorry. It's CBM. Did I? Oh, thank you. That's TV network. Oh, see, I knew I'd figure that one out. Thanks, CBM. Thank you. Oh, wait. The baddie summer bout. Thank you. Oh god. And then of course the Mad Chatter. Thanks guys. Wanted your merger takes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So here's what we're gonna. So I'm gonna. Actually, that's a good way to go on for our next thing. So we're basically talking about big hirings and firings throughout wrestling. The big ones. We're gonna here and there. So what are your, just throughout wrestling, something that was a big hiring or a big firing that happened and then we'll chat about it. But right now, I'm gonna get one out of the way just because it was a big one, and obviously you have to talk about the NWO. You talk about Hall and Nash, and I'm really just talking about in a general sense. Hall and Nash first showing up on Nitro on WCW TV. Those first times that they showed up going through the crowd, the way Shivani sold it, played it up, like one of these guys, like they did such a great job, and so just I don't know, that was always something I remember watching that because at that time we were watching both more WCW, DCW, but we were watching WWF too. That was just something huge. Like it was like, what's going on here, And before we go on, looks like Mad Chatter. Oh dang! What changes or what happened? Basically last week the merger officially happened with the Endeavor buying like WWE and going in with how they own now WWE and UFC. Well, about 100 employees were let go, and then about last week, about 20 wrestlers, about 16 wrestlers were let go, including Dolph Ziggler, Elias, and a few other people that we'll chat about too. So we're just talking about like throughout wrestling years, like people have been let go. So that's what we're talking about. So Sauce, as I mentioned though, with the outsiders showing up, what was your thoughts about that?
Oh, it was huge because before there was internet, before there was dirt sheets, it was almost unheard of. I mean, at this point, for somebody that major to come in the way he came in, everybody was really thinking that this man sent spies over there to basically ruin Ted Turner's company. Yeah. I mean, it got us the NWO, and the spirit of competition basically made everybody step their game up. That one moment, because granted, Hulk Hogan was cool and all going over there, but it was just he was basically at that point Hogan went from Dr. Pepper to Diet Dr. Pepper. It was like, okay, yeah, it's still good, it's there, but whatever. But when Scott Hall walked through there, it's interesting the way when he walked through there. It kind of reminded me of another wrestler who just kind of walked through the crowd and everybody just lost it and they didn't see coming. Was when Dean Ambrose, aka John Moxley, walked through the crowd at that first AEW show. And he walked in right after the Jericho versus Omega match, and he walked through the crowd, came through the ring. It was almost like it was damn near almost the exact same vibe.
That was huge. That was huge. I always loved it too because it gave me like those Sandman vibes in ECW when he would walk through the audience, but he had that kind of just like swagger walking through, So that, but that was huge, and it really just jump started obviously the huge WCW shift in their wrestling and the competition that went forward. That if that never happened, that competition wouldn't have happened. It would have been a lot different. It would have been a lot different, to say the least. So, before we go up to some of these, it looks like we got a lot of great ideas here. But of course, before that, I gotta put up Mad Chatter. Hey yo, that's thank you. Haven't had one in a while, man. But it does look like we do have CBM here. Had his thought. He got one. Jim Herd from WCW firing Ric Flair in '91 because he wouldn't cut his hair and take on the new gimmick of Spartacus.
Yeah, I remember hearing about that.
I mean, it's so. I mean, if you think about it, like now we laugh about it, but they probably had. That was huge because what does he do? He goes to WWF, and they push him to the moon at that point.
Hey, what this situation reminds me of? Basically, what y'all just explained with as far as Ric Flair being a Spartacus, who that recently just happened to a couple years ago? Carrion, aka Killer Cross, when he showed up with that BDSM outfit against John Morrison. Yeah, that's damn near the same thing.
That is basically the same. Now,
granted, Ric Flair was higher on a pedestal than Killer Cross. Karrion Cross, but. Yeah.
No, you're right though. Even with the same outfit, because it was very similar. Oh my gosh, stupid mask. Oh my gosh. Let's see. We got Mafia Sports Report. Papa Mafia. How you doing? How you doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. When WWE bought WCW, it was the saddest day in pro wrestling history. Yeah, it's kind of funny just remembering it because, again, remember the exact day it happened. I was watching it in one room, my brother was in the other. We saw Shane McMahon pop or Vince McMahon pop up there, and we were like, "Chris, let's go! We gotta tape this." And then we went in the other room and taped them, and it was, so yeah, it was a huge deal. It was a real huge deal, and just yeah. I mean, we lost the competition. We got a lot of other wrestlers and whatnot at that point. Because remember, McMahon booked that final, wrestle that Nitro. So obviously, you got the people he knew was going to bring. He wasn't bringing Steiner at the time. He was bringing Gregory Helms. Shane Helms over. So these guys were going to win these matches, but. Still, it was a big deal, and obviously, we talk about it to this day. And how many years ago? 22 years ago that happened. Like that happened my senior year in high school. Our senior year in high school, it happened. So that's crazy to think about. But yeah, absolutely. And I know we'll probably talk a little bit more too. But CBM has a good one here, a good bad one, which is it's on the thumbnail. I think it's on the thumbnail, isn't it? It might not be. Eric Bischoff when WCW firing Steve Austin by FedEx in 1995.
Yeah, it's on the thumbnail because when Doc sent me like the idea or whatever earlier, he said Steve Austin. I was like, yeah, I could go with the 2002, sour Steve Austin at the time, but I was like, nah, we got to go deep. We got to go deeper than that. We got to go to the firing that brought us to Stone Cold Steve Austin. That firing.
Yes. Yep. Like to this day, you think about it like, wow. Wow. I mean, hindsight is completely 2020 at this point, but seriously, it wasn't like he was bad either. He was getting pushed. He was in pay-per-view after pay-per-view and he was in feud all the time. But yeah, just think about it. Like,
you know who Stunning Steve Austin was back in the day? You know what he's the equivalent to now? Mind you, he was a workhorse. He was getting pushed. Had a couple mid-card titles. You know who Stunning Steve? Who's the today's equivalent of him is? Dolph Ziggler.
That's a really good point to put on that. Good hard worker. The show off character, the ringmaster. Type of, well, not the ringmaster, but Stunning Steve Austin.
Yeah.
I'm saying like that same kind of charisma. It's just something how the charisma changed to become this brand new character with Stone Cold, and it's like the rest was history.
Yeah.
And they would have never known, but still, the fact that it's by FedEx, come on, that's rough. That's rough, man. Oh my gosh. But we do have Papa Mafia here. Of course, I knew we got some WCW hitting some stuff here. Let's be real here. Eric Bischoff went live before WWE, and he made a second weekly show before WWE. Wrestling fans owe Bischoff a lot for changing the game in professional wrestling. And yeah, I mean, look, as I mentioned before, I watched WCW a lot, and it was a big deal. It was, my problem I had, I guess, with WCW was this. If Bischoff was always in charge and didn't have to rely on Russo, they did not need Russo. And when you have people that are the bookers for themselves, Kevin Nash, or something like that. Exactly. Like if you have Hogan, you got these people that are just going to be booking whatever they want, then you're going to have bad television. You're going to have bad wrestling. And, at that point, when Russo was taking over, like Bischoff was just like, I'm pushed all the way to the side. Like he basically is how, at that time, that's how TK is now for AEW all the time. Where he's just like, I'm not like running anything, apparently. I just kind of make decisions, and then there you go. I sit in the corner now. Can I come out of the corner?
I'm telling you, part of me really wants Shane McMahon to come back to WWE, so Triple H leaves, and then Triple H goes over to AEW, pushes Tony Khan out the way, and say, "Listen, you write the checks, and I'll show you how to run a wrestling show."
Yeah.
Part Part of me really wants to live in a timeline where this happens.
Yeah, that's a multiverse type of theory, isn't
Yes.
it? Oh my god, that really is.
Triple H from Earth 23.
Oh my gosh, I like it. We do have another one here from the chatter. I'm going to ask for a pause to shout out to Disco Inferno. Shout Disco Inferno. Here we go, baby. Now I'll give you this.
Hey.
Now I will say one thing. Disco Inferno, I had no issues with. Now Glenn Gilberti, the former TNA, sex SEX leader of Sports Entertainment Extreme and former bouncer at some random bar club in Las Vegas, but got fired from that job. Like that person I don't like. Disco, or Disco, DISQO, had to take it, when Cisco was popular, they changed his name. Or of course his final gimmick in WCW when he was part of the Boogie Nights with him and Alex Wright's Berlin character. It was just so ridiculous. But it worked. So, and then let's see. We do have D-Town guys in the house. Yeah. That's what I'm talking about. And then with the chatter here, Firestone Gold. Ouch.
Yeah. So Stunning Steve Austin got fired.
Yeah.
Then then fast forward a few years later.
Yep.
2002, Stone Cold got fired. Well, he actually quit, but Vince McMahon said he fired him.
Yeah, that whole shenanigans there. That's its own thing right there. So.
And granted, I understand, he was obviously disgruntled. The company was definitely moving in a new direction. I mean, the company was moving forward. Rock was gone. Stone Cold, at this point, it was like, okay, it's time for Stone Cold to start putting other talent over. And Stone Cold actually had a fair point. He said, listen, if you want me to put over the young talent like Brock, doing it on the Monday Night Raw or the regular Raw just out of nowhere, yeah, it doesn't make sense. He said, and I'm paraphrasing, he said, had it been on a pay-per-view, a big marquee match, he was like, yeah, I wouldn't have no problem with it. But he's like, the decision just make no. And once again, he was burnt out because he thought he was going, he thought he was going to have the match against Hogan.
Yeah.
And Manny 18, and I don't know what. I don't know what drug he was smoking during that time. That was not going to happen. As long as the Rock was still breathing. Like, don't get me wrong, that would have been listen. That for the most part, that match probably would have been almost the same as the Scott Hall match, but it would have been higher build up. But as far as like how the two guys was going to work, it would have been almost the same type of match or whatever. But then he just felt like at this point, his character, it was time for a divorce.
Yep, there you go.
When he got fired.
That's the best way to put it. And CBM here with our fact checking with our CBM, thank you. Austin admitted that he deserved to be fired by Eric. Eric also fired Sean Waltman by FedEx in early '98, and he immediately showed up the day after WrestleMania 14 as X-Pac. So that's oh my gosh, that's that. Oh man, I do remember.
Yeah, he was like, I'll never forget. He was like, get ready, we're here to rip ass, and I say, raise a lot of hell.
Yeah. And then of course, since we had to bring up Disco Inferno was fired by FedEx also in '97 for refusing to lose to Jackie Moore or like Jacqueline, He agreed to come back to do the job for her if he was made the television and cruiserweight champion at Halloween Havoc '97. So that tells you something right there. It makes sense why he randomly was champion for that time, and they're like, why? Why was he a champion?
So Doc, are you ready for me to give you one?
Hell yeah, let's go. Yeah.
So
actually, before we do that, I do want to just pop on here, just the socials here, since we do have a few more people watching.
Damn it. There you go.
You don't know. So we have our Facebook, we have Instagram, we got the Twitter X gonna give it to you, and then of course our playlist that we have on YouTube, the QR code that'll take you directly to that. So come and find us. You trust me. If you see some wrestling videos with our lovely faces, you're in the right place. So but all right, Sauce, hit me with it. Give me one.
Okay, this is not a firing. This is a hire. I say this is more of a hire.
Okay.
I'm gonna go with let me say this out here. Damn it, Google Chrome. Hold on. Oops, hold on.
Oh, you were good, man. So,
hold on. I want to get this exact year right. I want to say 2017, but I don't think that was the year.
I just like doing the hands. Like I don't know. I don't know my hands.
No. Let's see. He came in. You know what? Screw the year out. I'm not about to Google all this. So what I'm going to do is, shout out to CBM for. I've heard. This is something else different, but shout out to CBM. But no, I'm going to say actually AJ Styles when he showed up at WWE, and the reason why I say this was because we all thought he would, because you know how if Vince McMahon doesn't create you, he basically just treats you, like second-rate citizen. But when AJ Styles showed up, the crowd was hot, and then he got, obviously he gets his first win at Mania because that's how everybody pretty much does. But then this man literally became the face of SmackDown, the face of a whole entire brand.
Yeah. Yep.
And the way he was, like, the man won the WWE title. Was it that same year?
Well, actually, so it's funny to mention that. So he did not win at Mania. He lost to Jericho. Remember? So he fought Jericho.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
It was a great match, though. It was a great match. But he ended up losing to Jericho in that match.
I'm sorry. I think AJ Styles won the WWE title the next year. But at that point, like, the man literally became a household name in WWE just like that. It almost to this point, because he's become such a household name where the big boys play. You almost forget that he even worked at TNA or Impact, because it's just like, even in 2023, just how like when he comes on the stage, he comes in that ring, people will mark out. He gets a huge pop. He's hailed as as one of the GOATs, and he's definitely one of my. Mount Rushmore as far as GOATs. But yeah, I would say AJ Styles coming in was a big deal. It was almost a show that if I could come in here, as long as my wrestling pedigree can back me up and I could work good on the mic, any of you guys on the outside could do the same thing. And granted, Samoa Joe comes in. Granted, Samoa Joe didn't get much love on the main roster, but NXT, he was a monster. And then, most of these guys, I would say most of these guys, it's almost like they was influenced by AJ Styles to come over, as far as to, the big brand. And a lot of those independent guys, they just did their thing in NXT, which is still a WWE brand, which is, and even I look at NXT championship reigns as, I put it up there, with anybody, with the other big reigns as well. So, but as far as with AJ Styles, him coming in was like, there's no way you could ignore how the success he's had. Consider how other guys before him, coming from other brands, got treated like trash. So,
yeah. Now it's kind of funny you mentioned that, because right when you said that, D-Town guy. Yeah. Right there, and I have to agree too, because what was interesting about that signing was it wasn't a complete surprise. It was just like when he was going to debut. They had already kind of mentioned about a month earlier that they were signing Shinsuke Nakamura, AJ Styles, the Good Brothers, to come to WWE, and I was all for it, because like AJ Styles, to me, I've been watching him since, when he was barely in WCW in 2001, right? He was there like right at the dead end of it, WCW, and he was it was Air Paris, and Air Styles and Air Raid. Like it was such a because they had all these cruiserweight tag teams at that time, and then when TNA became a thing, NWA TNA, they really wanted him like to help be a cornerstone of the X division, and then pushed him. Albeit I thought maybe too fast to win the NWA title, but he deserved it. He was a great wrestler. So that's when I cared about. Like he was great. I honestly, when it was his later NWA, later TNA days, I wasn't a fan of, but that was more of the storytelling. It started getting really ridiculous at that point. But him leaving to go to New Japan and TNA not re-signing him, that was on them. Because then he becomes a monster. Like he's a monster name over in New Japan.
Oh, yeah.
Ring of Honor. And then obviously, the big thing you said, though, the huge thing you said is true. McMahon doesn't like someone that he didn't create or have at least a part of creating.
Yeah.
AJ does, he didn't. CM Punk's the same way. He didn't have, God damn, these guys got popular without me. What? No, God, that's not. No, I don't believe it. I don't believe it at all. No. It's like, I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry. So that's it was a great signing, and then showing up at the Royal Rumble, great. I remember I marked out for sure. He came out with great music. Like it was such a sweet.
They don't know. My bad.
Yep. Flawless. Flawless. So
I'm a goddamn warrior.
But yeah, so we do have something here from Papa Mafia. How about when WCW brought in the Black Scorpion to face Sting? Oh Lord, there we go. CBM, we need you. We need you here. So, and then of course, the Stone Cold character started in ECW.
Yeah, we brought that up. We already brought that up, Papa Mafia, but appreciate it.
I will say.
As far as the fire, because we were talking about the firings.
I will say one thing funny about this is that he did that, but guess where he got the stunner from? He got that from my boy Mikey Whipwreck, baby. Let's go. The Whippersnapper predates the Stone Cold Stunner. So there we go. Former ECW champion Mikey Whipwreck. But oh, that's funny. But great pick there, man. Great pick for a good hiring, for sure.
Can I give you a good firing?
No, I'm gonna go. Do you want to give a firing?
Yeah, it's up to you. It's up to you, Doc. What are we doing?
As long as I'm not getting future endeavored.
Okay.
So
I gave you a hiring. I'm gonna give you a firing.
All right. And
I'm gonna say the best firing is, once again, I'm going recent. I'm going with Matt Cardona.
There you go. That's a very good one right there.
Him getting fired, maybe released, whatever you want to call it, has been the best thing that has happened to him.
Yep.
And he kind of, it seemed like he followed the footsteps of Cody Rhodes. Cody Rhodes laid out the foundation for these guys. He said, listen, I'm going to give y'all the sauce. I'm going to give y'all the recipe. You just follow my footsteps, you can still eat after WWE.
Yep. The indie god, right? Yeah, the indie god. Like he definitely picked up on the idea of, because you got to remember, the former Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, was doing the Instagram and the Twitter well before anybody else was doing it. I mean, this guy, he was an internet champion, had a belt made for him, and it's crazy. But here's the thing: he was so over, but not the way McMahon wanted it. McMahon didn't like it because you're not getting over the way I want you to get over it. And it just makes me laugh because you see now how big social media is and how every wrestler has to have a Twitter, has to have an Instagram or something like that, or at least one of them. You have to have one of them at least so you can have these interactions that are posted and all this kind of stuff. He was doing that well before anybody else, but because the whole company wasn't on board, he gets punished because people like him. Oh, it was just so disheartening. Yeah, they give him his WrestleMania moment just for him to win the Intercontinental title in a great ladder match, but just to have him lose the belt the next day? Come on. And I know, like, he did it, and did the JLB to the Miz, and all that kind of stuff. But still, like, he deserved better, especially there at the end of that career. Young Zack Ryder, before we started doing it, like, yeah. But later, when it was like, okay, he's hot, he's over, so over. But Matt Cardona, we know now, yeah, it's great to see him.
If you think about it, he kind of paved the way for up, down, down, because like how he pushed himself on YouTube.
Yeah,
he kind of laid the groundwork for Xavier Woods, his up, down, down.
That's a good point right there. I never even thought of it that way.
And he also laid the foundation. For the Young Bucks, when they got that elite show that they do every week on YouTube.
Yeah.
So like you said, once again, Matt Cardona, give him his flowers. He was, him being a pioneer.
Yep. So we do have a couple chats here. That's going to be. So when Papa Mafia mentioned about WCW bringing in this Black Scorpion, the face Sting, that was Starrcade 90, which also had the International Tag Team Tournament. Conan, Rey Mysterio Sr., Norman Smiley, and Jack O Victory, which was just Jack Victory. All I can think of was Jack O Victory. Can we get called Jackie that from the local watering hole that we go to? So I'm gonna call her Jack O Victory from now, and she's gonna be like, "What the hell did you just call me?" Be like, "It's okay, it's okay." D-Town guy, was talking about with Drew. I believe he's talking about Drew McIntyre, and CBM has to. So Drew McIntyre getting fired by WWE in 2010 for getting beat up by his girlfriend, Taryn Terrell. Yes, the crazy Taryn Terrell. Anybody want to see this story about it? Just look. There's a lot of places to look online. Marky D on YouTube. He has a lot of great videos, but one of them specifically talks about this situation, and it's pretty messed up, because if you see Taryn Terrell and then you see Drew McIntyre, you'd say, "Nah, it's not possible." But it is. Taryn Terrell was crazier than a bag full of raccoons, So, but it's kind of funny though, because like I said, he gets let go, and then he comes back much better, because what happened, he goes to TNA, he gets bigger, goes to Evolve, and then he comes back. The chosen one comes home, right? So, oh man, and then of course we have. I was waiting for this one, Sauce. I really was. The Papa Mafia. We'll let Sauce say this one, since you got to say it just like it.
How you doing? I got fired. So what? People get fired every day. How you doing? Chris, trees get fired. How you doing? People light up joints. They get fired too. How you doing?
Nice. How you doing?
At the end of the day, let me tell you something. My name's Enzo. Jav Walker, Skywalker. At the end of the day, I'm a certified G. You can't teach that. It's 2023, and you can't teach that either. All right? How you doing?
So obviously, Papa Mafia was just got onto Enzo, because we were showing him a little bit of him and whatnot, and now we've already kind of talked about Enzo, including the Sauce here. Like this guy right here, he literally, they got over so hot, so much. These guys were so over, and he was such a troll, especially to the whole cruiserweight division.
People want to talk about John Cena burying wrestlers. Listen, Triple H, they want to talk about Triple H burying talent. The biggest bury I have ever seen happened when Mr. Enzo Amore literally buried a whole entire television show live.
I mean, it's so true, though. He had everyone in the ring for 205 Live, and he just trashed every one of the cruiserweights, like every one of them. And so, you know what? I know people hated he was champion, but it made people watch the show.
Yep.
Nobody was watching 205 Live. Like, not really.
No.
Ugh, gosh.
And then by the time we started watching it, it was too little too late, because I would say Enzo kind of, was kind of the fuel, the ignition to, to Neville at the time. Y'all know him as the bastard Pac. But at the time when Neville started his heel turn, his heel run, Enzo Amore kind of like, he was kind of the catalyst for it.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, that makes sense completely. And like, it was funny how over they got. After Big Cass was gone because he was a dumbass. Just leaving. Like,
we don't have to go into too much detail, but
no, not at all. But I still just love it that he just gets Daniel Bryan's first match back, and he gets to beat him, and then he's sent back in. So. Oh my god, CBM has it right here though. You guys need to do a live review of Enzo's rap video. Yeah, I gotta get it.
I will say though, like I watched a podcast. I think it was like 5-6 months ago. Enzo was on a podcast, and he was saying that people have been telling him they want to see him back. They feel like he'd be better as manager. He was like, no, if I come back, I want to be a wrestler. Like, no, bro. God did not create you to wrestle. He created you to talk.
Correct. Do you know what's crazy? If he came back, he could get Hit Row over. Bank. I guarantee he could get Hit Row over if he came back as their manager. I guarantee he could. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's gonna be good.
Hell, that man. Listen, he could be Nyla Rose's manager, and then everybody will tune in. So if I say Nyla Rose will be women's champion next week.
Oh my gosh.
But I just like somebody really need to sit down with Enzo and tell him, like, listen, man, I know you as much as you love wrestling and doing the independent stuff. Nobody goes out of the way to watch you independently wrestle. People want to hear you talk. So get that microphone in your hand and just do what God brought you here to do. Because I'm telling y'all right now, the only person that could give Rock in his prime a run for his money when it comes to that microphone, Enzo.
Yeah.
Enzo is the only guy who could probably out promo The Rock.
Yeah.
The Rock in his prime. Attitude Era Rock.
Yeah.
I think Enzo could easily give him a run for his money.
Oh yeah. Well, for sure. As long as you gotta keep him on point slightly. You gotta keep him at least in the somewhat parameters of what to talk about. Like once he starts going like slightly off the off the sacred timeline, if we're talking about show like a show.
Just imagine Enzo, Rock talking about Jabroni Drive. He'd be like, look at you hear this hater over here? You hear this hater? Let me tell you something, chump. You know what Jabroni Drive leads me to? Leads me to your mama house. How you doing?
How you doing? Yeah, he wouldn't even let him try. Oh my god. But let's see. We do have a CBM here with Michael Hayes was an awful wrestler, but he was awesome on the mic. He was even good as Doc Hendricks. So, oh god, let's see. That's what I'm talking about. See, he got the CBM. He's working it, man. He's working it for us. Okay, but you're right. Some people are like, look at people that coach. There's some people that coach sports that maybe tried playing and they were like meh, or they weren't that good, and they're great coaches. Like I look at hockey as a diehard Red Wings fan, Scotty Bowman, the greatest coach of all time. I'll say arguably some people, but they shouldn't. He really is. And he tried playing, and when he was young, and it was terrible. So he became a coach, and the rest is history, So there's a lot of people there that way. Now, there are some player coaches that were better. They were okay, but most of the time, no. It just doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. A D-Town guy had an idea here about Enzo, putting him with the Acclaim.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, I don't think so. With Sauce, those guys already kind of have their rap gimmick. Enzo would just overshadow him, I feel.
Yep. But I say, as far as Caster, like he would just he would be burying Caster without even knowing it.
Yeah, it'd have to be people. That's why I mentioned Hit Row, only because these guys aren't guys going to be rapping at all anytime soon, and it's someone that can maybe try to get them over because of how But only if Flop Dollar comes back. I want Flop Dollar. Okay, just say it. He's funny to me, and it makes me laugh.
His name is Top. If I say his name is Flop Dollar, and you can't teach that. Stay away. You better stay away from the rope, son. How you doing?
Yeah, it sells itself. Oh Lord. But so before we, oh my gosh, before we get on to the next one, I was gonna bring up one. I'm just bring up this because he worked so hard on this social banner here. Thank you, Sauce. Thank you.
I worked hard. It took me like 6. I worked hard for 6 minutes.
Oh my God, Sauce! At that point, you say it took you like an hour. I don't know, but we do have all of our socials here on Facebook, Instagram, the Twitter, X go and give it to you, and then of course the playlist on YouTube where the QR code does take you there. But really, just have to start typing it in, and you'll find it. You'll find our pretty faces on there and all of our wrestling know-how. Let's see here. So I do have a couple here. Just kind of funny. A firing that happened. And I remember in 2009, it was such a big deal to me because the vignettes made me very excited to see this guy. But the firing of Hade Vanson. Chirp, were there like crickets going on? Hade Vanson. Yeah, it's more of a joke. So, this just like a lot of these other guys that were coming up from the minors and stuff. They push this guy with a lot of vignettes. It's always bad when you have these vignettes for someone, right? And they air for a while.
Veer Mahan.
Veer Mahan's a big, yeah. But Hade Vanson, he got to the point where he didn't even debut. He was about to debut, and they were going to put him into a program with The Undertaker. Big guy, kind of had like a Karrion Kross-esque looks like that, or like Batista when he was in OVW, like the face, because he was bald in OVW. But apparently he got shut down when McMahon came to a show, saw him, and he's like 5'10", and it's like, God damn, he's gone. He's not wrestling The Undertaker. He's not going to be like. So he got fired right after that. Didn't even debut, but he had all these vignettes. So, like I said, it was more of a fun joke there. But yeah, he got future endeavored pretty quickly after having so many promos. No, my actual one for firing, and this one kind of sucks because it really depends on whose opinion you believe. But I have to go with Mr. Kennedy. In WWE, Mr. Kennedy.
I almost put him in the thumbnail.
Really? See, there you go.
I started to, but I was like, I'm gonna just dial it back a little bit.
Yeah, Mr. Kennedy kind of had talk about the bad luck opportunist, right? Like this guy he literally had so much bad luck, especially when he was Money in the Bank winner. Then he dropped the Money in the Bank because of what supposedly he was going to be out for several months with his injury. But then they came back and they were like, "Oh, no, it's not that bad. You'll be back in like a month." And they're like, "What?" So, yeah, I liked Kennedy as a wrestler. I did. I thought he was pretty entertaining. How could you not like that cool gimmick? The MC gimmick. He was had the size on him. He could go toe-to-toe with these different wrestlers. But with that being said, it was the rumors about not working or working bad, like with John Cena. Apparently, that was one of the big catalysts. Is that Cena said that he was either are hard to work with or other stuff like that. Do you remember? See, it's hard around that time. I didn't really pay attention too much when it came to those real reasonings for those firings, but. Again, it's really what we believe at that point. So what's your thoughts on that, man?
I was, as a fan, I definitely felt derailed by the whole, when it happened. I didn't want to believe the dirt sheets. I just thought to myself, because because at that point he was supposed to be unveiled as McMahon's the illegitimate son.
Yeah, that would have. Yeah,
And I was a huge Kennedy fan. Like I had I almost had most wrestling figures. I even had the Prestige. That what was it? I think Mattel was still making at the time, or Jack Pacific at the time. They was making like those like really detailed like statue figures where you had the mic drop down. Like when you say Kennedy, I had like if it made a toy, I was on it because I was like, this could be a guy that I can say I was there from the start. As far as merch or whatever. But yeah, as soon as that happened, I was, I admit I was hurt. I was like, come on, y'all.
Yeah, it was pretty bad too because that he got the mentality that people were saying that he was being careless in the ring, where he had slammed Orton on a suplex, and then there at that point you're like, oh well, he works bad in the ring. It's like, well, look, that happens to the best of them, So if it was more than that, at that point it had to have been more than just one person talking to them, right? So that's where, like, why would you let go of a guy that's that popular? Now that storyline might not have been that popular, but he was.
It would have worked though, because it would have made sense. Because once again, it's just another push is going on. So,
yep.
But I would say this, like, we don't like. Of course, we'll probably never know if it was Cena or if it was Orton or who was the one that Vince McMahon said he's got to leave. We'll never know. But one thing we always say about Kennedy is he was the last person that Eddie Guerrero wrestled and stole that win. And unfortunately, Kenny will never be able to get that rematch.
Yeah. So sad.
But even I'm pretty sure it's been brought up multiple times. And even Kennedy said, "Hey, listen, if there was ever, I'm sure he felt like if there was ever a guy that still went from me, and I could never get it back, it's got to be Eddie, and I'm okay with that."
There you go. Yep. So we do have a couple chats here in regards to some firings. Yeah, I actually remember watching this with him. So WCW firing Sabu right after his match with Mr. JL, which is Jerry Lynn, at Halloween Havoc 95 because his uncle, the Sheik, threw a fireball right at JL, and which of course was unplanned. I like it, which of course, because yeah, of course it was. Sheik's like, got this fireball, and then throws the fire. Oh my gosh, almost as bad as Hulk Hogan trying to do the paper, try to make the flash paper go off and failed miserably at that too. We do have here, because we were just talking about Anderson. Now this is absolutely true. The best was in TNA when Mr. Anderson, Mr. Kennedy, would motion for the drop down of the microphone, and it never actually came. It happened almost at every TNA pay-per-view. This is true. The ones that we watched, he would ask for it. It would not come down. He'd ask for it again, and it would either come down or it'd come down like he was in the wrong spot, so it like hit him. He had to grab it. Like, it was so stupid. It's almost like you don't know what this gimmick is. Did you not practice this before? Oh God. So watching that was funny. And it does look like we have Papa Mafia referencing, talking about Stan Hansen, talking about being a damn good wrestler, slamming Andre the Giant. But we do have CBM kind of reiterating that Stan Hansen also, mind you, a very badass at his time, don't want to mess with this guy. He slammed Andre. Kanik slammed him. Harley Race slammed him. Hulk Hogan, when he was in 70 and 80, slammed him. And it slammed him in 80. So, yeah, I remember there was even like a house show. There was a house show where he was slammed. It was just the fact that he was slammed in front of like the
11 billion people, according to me.
I was just gonna say 1,100,000 million people at the Pontiac Soda.
According to Vince McMahon, the whole entire state of Michigan saw him, was there to see it. Like everybody from the UP came down to see it. Like all 2 million people in Michigan was there when it happened.
Right.
Let McMahon tell it.
Oh my gosh, how funny. But Yeah, so it's crazy when it comes to all these like different like wrestlers and everything else that good hirings, bad firings, good hirings, back and forth like that. Like I as researching some of this, I was doing a little bit of newer stuff because I mean obviously there's some older stuff. It's crazy how certain things like let's talk about Dawn Marie. Let's talk about Karma, the former Awesome Gong. These women get pregnant, right? And then they're let go. It's like you're at any job now. Last time I checked, that's illegal. You can't just fire someone because they're pregnant. But because the wrestlers are referred to as a independent contractor, they can do whatever they want. There's a difference, But it's crazy to think about it, right? Like fire. Oh, you gotta.
Well, you know what? Maybe Life was doing Awesome Kong a favor.
Yeah.
Because did we really want to see a butterfly belt on Awesome Kong?
No, but it does. But I would have seen some. We would have seen some really good feuds there with her. I
think at that time, maybe her best matches probably would have been for Melina and Beth Phoenix.
Yeah, that's true. And then, of course, Melina, her leaving, that was another whole thing altogether, too.
Yep. Being a toxic coworker.
Yeah. So, but yeah,
I do got another one for you, Doc.
Hit me.
I would say hiring a guy who's always will be viewed underrated, even though he could be considered one of the GOATs. Depends on who you ask. But he'll always be overshadowed by his fake brother from Canada. Another hiring that I would go to is Christian. So he left WWE. I mean, he was a hell of a mid-carder and whatnot, and he can get over, he can get his opponent over, give him a storyline. Christian made it work.
Yeah.
This man goes to the independent scene. I mean, I'm sorry, not really independent, but he goes to TNA. He is the one to finally, he was like the savior of wrestling because he was the one to finally get the NWA belt off of Jeff Jarrett and keep it off of him.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And because this was like right before Kurt Angle got there, but I mean, then we saw this man put on great match after great match, promo after promo. This man has shown, because there are a lot of people, his peers. A lot of guys always tell you, they say, yeah, Edge is great and all, but they say if you want somebody with a true, godlike wrestling mind, Christian is the guy to go to. Yeah, the guy understood wrestling psychology like no other.
Yep. Oh, that's absolutely true. It's like when he went there, and of course we always joke about like TNA because at one point, how many people had like the Cage name, or at least weird like brother runts for like Spike Dudley, and then Bully Ray ended up working fine, but like at the time seemed weird. Seemed like silly. But Christian Cage, I was like, Cage, okay, cool. But it did. It worked really well for him to go to TNA. I mean, well enough to the fact that he came back to WWE and had an okay run there. He had two world championship runs against Randy Orton. Had a little feud there. Wish the feud would have went longer. Wish they would have like just held on to him and like, come on, let him have the belt. Let him have it for a little longer, But still, good time there. And let's not forget the fact that now, how many years ago was that? Like that was 10 years ago, right? 12 years ago. I'm trying to remember exactly when that feud happened.
Oh, you talking about Randy Orton when Booking screwed over Christian? That was like 2010, 11, but a little bit outside of a decade.
So you're talking about that, and now he's in AEW. He's the current TNT champion right now. Still
knows the source, but yeah.
No, he's champion now. He won the triple threat match.
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm sorry, my bad. Yeah, you know what I really wanted to happen. I wanted Christian to lose, like when he was the TNA champion. TNT champion. What I really wanted to happen was I wanted him to lose or whatever, and then all of a sudden, somebody would crown new champion. Then he look at Luchasaurus and say, "It's your fault that I lost. It's your fault." because even though Luchasaurus is a champion,
Yep.
that's why I really wanted that to happen.
Oh, that was funny. Oh my god, how funny would that have been? I would have laughed. But now that's a great pick right there because it shows Christian and how he can still work right now. His longevity. I mean, think about it this way: look how long he's been, and now Edge, he's not. You know, he's done. He's done for all intents and purposes. But you know how wrestling is.
Hey Doc,
So,
even in 2023, because how much of impact that he made in TNA.
how much impact? Oh, what?
Hey, what a bell at? What a bell at?
I got the bell. Oh, yeah.
But even in 2023, do you think he's being called Christian, or do you think he's being called Christian Cage more?
Well, yeah, especially now it's Christian Cage because it's similar to what happened to like no Sting's his name's Sting, but like Sting, Kurt Angle, Christian Cage, these guys wrestled more time in like Impact Wrestling / AEW than their times in WCW, you know, in WWE. So think about that's how crazy. You know?
And even when Christian came back to WWE for those two world title runs and the ECW run,
yeah.
Like people were still referring to him as Christian Cage, even though he was just back to Christian. But because the impact he made as Christian Cage, you know, if you just close your eyes and hit, okay. But as far as as far as the impact he got, and I'm gonna just piggyback off of CBM real quick. One of the greatest hirings ever to happen was definitely my uncle Kurt Angle. When my uncle Kurt Angle joined TNA, I mean, like the dude showed up and the first opponent Samoa Joe, and mind you, you know I was off and on when it came to TNA because I was one of those idiots that grew up like, well, if WWE did, it sucks, it's stupid. Yeah, I was one of those morons. And but when my uncle Kurt Angle showed up to Impact, I was like, oh my god, yeah, I know what I'm doing right now. And like I said, Samoa Joe, and mind you, I was somewhat familiar with Samoa Joe. You know, his Nation of Violence and all that whatnot. And Kevin, you know, what was it, Kevin Nash being like his mentor and advisor at the time. But like I said, when Kurt Angle showed up to TNA, I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah. I remember it very vividly because I was watching those pay-per-views, and that specific pay-per-view, one of my friends, Brandon, he had gotten that specific show, and the end of the show when they showed Angle, we were just like, now it's gotten real. Like there's competition. Like it was a big deal, and you know, for a little while that was true. Like you said, you were nail on the head right there. You're talking about Samoa Joe. I mean, banger matches right there. Already, like, come on.
Hey, Doc, was the Kurt Angle the original bill collector? Would you say he was the original bill collector?
First and foremost, Ultimo Guerrero is the ultimate belt collector. But
okay.
Kurt Angle was a good one, you know, when he was the. But there was a lot of weirdness about that New Japan title at that time, especially him and Lesnar. And over in New Japan, so he was still champ. Don't get me wrong, but it was some weird stuff going on there. My only concern I had, especially when it came to like the X Division title, is like I hated when they started letting the higher, like the big heavyweights, and because it's not a cruiserweight belt, I get that, but don't give it to like these well-known wrestlers that have been wrestling for years, and then you're like, I'm X Division champion. It's like, but you're just giving them the belt because they've won all the belts. I don't like that, but winning the other belts, yeah. Angle looked good though. Angle, if they had went the whole route for it on other companies, it would have been good. But at that time, they were locked in. They weren't letting anybody wrestle anywhere else. You know.
Well, at that point, I mean, he looked good with it too because he looked like an actual wrestler. You know, Not only did he look like he looked like a pro wrestler, but he looked like an amateur wrestler, mind you, because of his his amateur wrestling. And Olympic days, so seeing him with all that gold on him, it was just like it was like when it was like watching the Mona Lisa in sweaty tights.
Oh my god, that's funny. that's funny. But real quick, I mean, because we talked about it earlier, we're just letting Papa Mafia know. But now you're talking about Scott Hall to WWE hiring and Kevin Nash. Now I'm not sure if you're referring to like when they went back to WWE for their NWO run,
because that was pretty rough.
Because so if you're talking about that, yeah, that was just because they needed the NWO. They bring it in, and then of course when Hollywood Hulk Hogan, the red and yellow bled through, they got put to the wayside and they limped along for months before Scott Hall was let go. Then they brought Big Show with Xbox. Like, guys, I'm here, NWO. They're like, shut up, Sean, shut up.
No, this is us. Here's X5. Hey guys, yeah, I'm here, guys, I'm here. Hold on, I'm here. Yes, say guys, don't forget about me, guys. Don't forget about me.
Don't forget about me. Yeah, then like Big Show was put into that NWO group.
Shawn Michaels.
Like it was so at that point, like they knew it was like we're done so with this. So that run didn't really work well at all. So it's just it was cool to see. Don't get me wrong. I loved too, and they showed up at the end of No Way Out, and the No Way Out logo was like spray painted NWO, and I was like, oh, that's cool because he's got to inject poison. The poison. It's so. I know you can't. I know it's a little rough.
We're 40. We're 40. Bear with us.
I know, right? Yeah. Well, our walkers here soon enough. But, oh man.
Yeah, but that second when they came back as the NWO run, during the time, like the first couple months, like from No Way Out to Mania, it was great because we got to see it. It was kind of like that what if scenario came to life as far as like what if the NWO was in WWF. It was like, but after WrestleMania 18, that honeymoon wore off, and at that point it was all right, y'all. We don't care anymore.
Right. Oh man, trust me. If there's one thing we could talk about for hours at a time is just how many of these firings, whether they were funny or big or surprising or very odd, firings here and there. But it's just again doing so much for this. No, CBM. You, Sauce? No. Fool me once. Not, you will never fool me again.
Hey, Doc. I know normally this is time when we get ready to wrap up. Can we do one more? Can we do one more?
We can absolutely do one more as long as you don't read this next thing.
No. I would say he was great at NXT. I remember he was great at NXT. As far as on the main roster, he's whatever or whatnot, even though they're trying to like do something with him now. But when he signed to NXT, it was a huge deal. And that was Shinsuke Nakamura.
Yes. Yep. we just randomly do.
But I remember watching. And he filmed this little vignette. He was like, "Sami Zayn, I'll see you in Dallas or whatever it was at." And I just remember like it was such a big deal because once again now we're in the full. We got the internet in front of us, and I'm reading about this Shinsuke Nakamura guy. I just see him. I'm looking at the highlights of the banger match that he put on with AJ Styles. I'm like, holy crap, this guy is like, let's go. And then when he showed up in NXT, when that match finally happened, and when he came out in all his glory, I said, holy crap, this dude is like his own JoJo's Bizarre character. For all the anime fans out there, y'all know what I'm talking about. This dude was his own stand. But
that's great, actually. I never would have thought that, but yeah, that's a great.
And I'm looking, I'm like, holy crap, this is the greatest wrestler I've ever seen in my life in the year of 2015. This is the greatest thing ever. Like, and actually, he was the cherry on top of that whole pay-per-view. Because, mind you, that whole pay-per-view, that was probably one of the best wrestling cards that we had seen in like a decade.
Yep. Yeah, they put on some banger shows at that time. And the fact is that we got the strong style that we haven't really seen in the United States, at least at the favorite. I'm sorry, in the like WWE and like the bigger companies. Obviously, we've seen it in like Ring of Honor and places like that, but it was something completely different for most casual fans. So it was very cool seeing that, and it was just disappointing when he was his run. Like not necessarily at first, like when he went. I'm talking on the main roster. NXT, he was fired the whole time, pretty much the whole time there. NXT, but when he got in the main roster, I knew eventually they were going to do that Nakamura, AJ Styles, and the problem was that's the problem where you get hyped up for a match, and you hype, and then the match is still really good, but then you're like, crap.
The honeymoon phase wears off.
Well, then they had that horseshit ending for that with the low blow, like, and then he fight him again and a low blow again, and or something like they did this weird storyline where it was like, I'm just gonna keep hitting you in the nuts.
And you know who else did that? Randy Orton with his first title run.
Yeah,
he was like basically doing stuff to get disqualified on purpose because he did it to Jeff Hardy, he did it to Shawn Michaels. So he basically, you know how WWE they like to recycle stuff.
He did the John Cena too, I think, where he slapped the referee. Is that what that was?
Dom Go Cena, that was his for you. Dom Go Cena.
Yeah, I just remember that too because it was like seeing his face, and he's like, "Call the bell." Or I know it's a little off topic, but how about the match where Big Show stepped off the apron into the table, and it was a tables match, and he broke it by accident, but he lost the belt. I think he was like U.S. champion or some shit. It was so dumb. Like Big Show's face was like this, and I know it's all booked, stripped him. He's like he just knew. Like, God dang it, did I just do that?
Hey Doc, I gotta step away for just a minute. I'll be right back.
All right, no problem. I will read one right here. Looks like we do have Papa Mafia. Yeah, bad hiring. Bret Hart, the WCW. Had no plan for him. Total disaster. Papa Mafia, you were absolutely right. That deal happened because of all the shenanigans that happened, obviously, after the screw job. He was already wanting to go there. And, you know, maybe there could have been some stuff there for him. But unfortunately, there wasn't. At that time, WCW, you had Russo had come over and decided to just turn it into a complete train wreck. Not to mention, obviously, Bill Goldberg. You know, he runs into the mountain that's Bill Goldberg. And, you know, we're not really going to go much into that because it does suck about that. But needless to say, even without that, you had what? Him and NWO 2000 with Jeff Jarrett, slap nuts. Come on. Bret Hart deserved a lot better. He had two title runs that were just pretty much probably contractually obligated for him, because at that point a WCW title meant nothing when stayed with Arquette. More so when Russo won it. Russo won it and then just abdicated the belt, but then the belt didn't mean anything. At one point in 2000, that belt changed hands 400 times that year. It was insane. So I don't mind multiple champions, but when you're having that many in such a short amount of time, so yeah, I would have to agree with you, Papa Mafia. Bret Hart, it was a complete waste for his character. So, and a bad way to go. But
oh yeah, that one hurt. That one hurt my soul. Just watching it, the Bret, doing the heel turn. It was kind of cool at first, but then by the time by the time World War III had been done in Detroit, at that point I was just kind of, I was like, all right, well, whatever, I'm kind of over it.
Yeah, and then of course Bill Goldberg.
Yep. I think Bill. I think it was I think Bill did him a favor. I mean, if we want to be honest.
Yeah, well, think about it this way. Okay, that's a good point. Let's roll with that. So say if he never got injured with a concussion, WCW would have already been bought a year later regardless. And at that point, it's almost funny, right? McMahon then gets your contract back. After all that, you're back with me now. How ridiculous would that be?
The only thing that would have actually that part would have been a silver lining because instead of Hogan versus Vince at 19. It could have been probably would have been Brett versus Vince at 19.
Ah, there we go. That absolutely would have been it. Yep, that would have been it. But even though they had that match, quote unquote, later, but you're right. So,
let's not talk about that match.
Let's not talk about that. And we got one more chat here, and then we're gonna be wrapping it up for the night. But I do like this only because I was there. Was that the World War III with Glacier versus Wrath as the opening match? Yes, CBM, you know me so well. Now here's the thing: I will say this: Wrath was so over all the time. Fans loved him. Big guy, could move. He could actually wrestle as a big guy. And what killed me about this match is they were still pushing Glacier. You know, Sub-Zero, Mortal Kombat was still pretty big. So they just shut him down. And, Wrath was just, I don't know. But he definitely, much better than, much chronic. But yes, that was it's actually an okay match, the opening match of the last World War III never occurred. So, but so we're gonna wrap it up though for our show today. We didn't get a chance to talk about the Wrestle Dream, honestly, because it's going to be a good show. Just kind of look it up. There is about 400 matches, as you can see. We showed you slightly before.
It'll probably have its own Wikipedia page about it.
Yes, and that's always a good thing to kind of do for reference, and at least for me, if I can't get a chance to see it right away. But I thought it was a pretty good show. But what we always have to do, though, of course, is our Heat of the Week. So, Sauce, do you got your Heat of the Week lined up, or do you got it?
I feel like you need to go first.
Oh, okay, all right.
The way the anticipation that you got going on, I feel like we need to start with you first.
All right. So basically, we're going to go with the Heat of the Week here. So anything that happened in the wrestling world or anything in general here or there. Let's see. Gosh, there's a few small things here and there I could say, but I
mean, would you like me to go?
No, I got it. So
okay.
I'm gonna go with I know this happened this happened like a week ago.
It doesn't matter. Listen, it's our show. It doesn't matter.
But I'm gonna go with the fact that with The Rock coming back at SmackDown, Pat McAfee high as shit on SmackDown. That was hilarious, by the way. Like he's flat out like, what's up, guys? I'm like, well, this guy's just high as shit right now. But it was just knowing that social media outreach was going to be huge, and they were like, it reached over 100+ million, users through social media, and I'm like, that's what they want to do now. That's the whole point, And speaking about social media, we here on Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast, we do have all of our social medias. Nice segue there, of course. But of course, like I said, Facebook, we have our page there. Instagram, always if you want to post some wrestling related stuff here. Gonna give it to you here over on the former Twitter, and of course the playlist, Nuclear Heatwave Wrestling Podcast. That's under the Mafia Sports Report page, and the QR code that goes right for YouTube. So yeah, you can check that out and subscribe, post some stuff for us. We're here for it. So,
or if you just want to send me a whole bunch of hate messages about my picks on wrestling, and I still think that No Mercy.
You're kidding.
Listen, hey, any one of the socials and just say, "Listen, Sauce, you coward. Don't talk about my game like that." But I'm gonna still talk trash about how No Mercy still sucks as a wrestling game. What's not getting my Heat of the Week? No Mercy.
No Mercy. Which ironically, the NXT show, No Mercy, is this weekend too. So what's the odds of that? We're ripping on it.
I'll check the highlights out.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be okay. It's gonna be a pretty good show. It's not for Mustafa Ali though. Apparently he was supposed to fight Dirty Dom and
whatever. But I would say my Heat of the Week is Mr. Ray Phoenix. AEW. He's now their new Am I pronouncing it right? The new international champion.
You got it.
And I knew obviously when Mox got when he beat Orange Cassidy, when he won the strap, we knew it wasn't going to be long term. Even if Mox hadn't got injured last week during the match, let's say it's still regardless. It only made sense that Ray Phoenix walk out the belt because Mox is not going to be wrestling. Wasn't going to be wrestling every week, but no match workhorse matches every single week. No. And at this point in his career, like that, no.
He needs some time off.
So. And I think this is good for Ray Phoenix because we all know when it comes to him and Penta. I mean, Penta is here and Ray Phoenix is like right here. And this is a great way to at least kind of boost him up, boost his stock up to kind of like get him in the same conversation as Penta as far as like the elite luchadors, as far as for AEW. So I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I don't even know who he's facing tomorrow, but I know he's about to put on a banger of a match tomorrow.
And you know what? With that being also said out there, I have to also give it to Pat, not Pat McAfee. I'm sorry, only because I saw CBM wrote that to Eddie Kingston, baby, the man. Hey! Let's go.
Listen, that man has not did a sit up since 2016. Shout out to him.
He's my hero. He's my hero right here. Let's go. Now, if we can bring back Chris Hero too, that I would love to see that as well. Because I was a fan of him before the Cassius Ono or whatever, the original KO. Oh, you see that? Like Kevin comes out with Kevin Owens as Cassius Ohno. Oh Lord. Oh man. I'm booking this for you. It's gold. Let's go. But with that all being said, we have another great show. Love all the chats from everybody here. And like I said, that's what we're here for. Talk about wrestling with you guys. So with that all being said, we're going to cut it off for this week. We'll be back next week. Most likely what we'll do is next week kind of just going over stuff from Wrestle Dream, probably some stuff from highlights, anything good from No Mercy, not the game, NXT No Mercy. Our staff will be upset. But we'll do that next week, and we'll check that with you guys. But, of course, I am Dr. Love. And I can't do without him, but this is Sauce Bronson, baby.
Hey, listen, ladies and gentlemen, y'all be happy, y'all be safe, y'all be healthy. Most importantly, be good. Go Lions. I hate the Packers. They suck.
Hell.